Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to Northern Burlington County Regional High School. I am Mr. James Dow, joined by Northern student athlete and video production student Mr. Kyle Forsini, and we are here as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds take on the Bordentown Scotties. How are you tonight, Kyle?
I'm good, Mr. Dowd. How are you today?
Good. Both teams come into this game playing pretty well this season. Northern's had some big wins. Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Greyhounds season so far?
Well, the Greyhounds have had a surprise season so far, but a good surprise. The Greyhounds are 9-7-1 coming into this game, looking for a big home win for their seniors tonight versus the Bordentown Scotties, who are, as of now, 11-1-1. They're a great team this year, and it's going to be a tough game for Northern.
And certainly the Hounds have their work cut out for them. As you said, Kyle, Coach Mike Brennan's doing a great job leading the Bordentown Scotties to the top of the Patriot Division. Kyle, what can you tell us about the Scotties season? What are some of their big games so far?
Well, the Bordentown Scotties have had some very clutch wins so far. They beat Burlington Township 1-0, Holy Cross 1-0, and New Egypt 2-1. So although they're 11-1, they've had some very close games so far. So had those games gone the other way, their record could be a little bit worse. But credit to them to having those games being won, and they'll give Northern a good fight tonight.
And that looked like a great play there by Brad Foreman, one of our senior leaders. Now Northern's got a pretty experienced team here out on the field. It's developed this team over the past few years, and they've got quite a few seniors playing tonight, possibly their last game of the season or their last senior night for that matter. But Kyle, what can you tell us about some of the senior leaders here on the Hounds?
Well, I can tell you that the Northern team is led by seniors Kyle Quigley, Brett Myers, and Kyle Adams. They're the team captains. However, they also have seniors like Joe Lopez and Brad Foreman, who are going to go out there and play their heart out, and they're good players as well.
Looks like we've got quite the midfield battle going on here as the Hounds maintain possession. The Scotties are led by leading scorer Matt Horner, and they're led by the leaders of Horner, Adam Bijou, and Andre Justin. Their goalkeeper, Dino Gramasaurus, has been doing a great job. He's been playing goalie for the team for 4 years, got a little bit of experience his freshman year, and then did a tremendous job in 2013 and also in 2014 where he led the BCSL in saves. So the Hounds certainly have their work cut out for him tonight, but have been doing a pretty good job thus far. It looks like that was a bounce off of Keandre Castro, another senior leader here on the Greyhounds, and the ball's going to sail out of bounds. So, Kyle, what can you tell us about the Greyhounds season so far, some of their big wins, some of their tough opponents?
Well, the Greyhounds had a very clutch win over Penn Saucon 3-1, in which they were down 1-0 early and then came back and scored 3 unanswered goals. And they've also had a very clutch win versus Florence, who they've beaten 3-2. Florence is a very good team this year, and Northern went into Florence and won that game very handily 3-2. They came back from another second half deficit.
Looks like we've got a lot of action here, and the Scotties are certainly trying to get an early lead here and capitalize on some miscues by the Hounds. But our boys are hanging tough, and it's a 0-0 game so far in the first half. Again, for those of you just joining in, I'm Mr. James Dow, joined by Mr. Kyle Forsini. We are here at the farm. It is October 23rd, 2015, as the Northern Burlington Greyhound soccer team takes on the Bordentown Scotties in a great local matchup. As Kyle mentioned, the Scotties lead the Patriot Division over teams like Holy Cross, Maple Shade, Pemberton, New Egypt, Trenton Catholic. And the Hounds are just about in the middle of the pack in the Liberty Division against local teams RV, Delran, Burlington Township, and Cinnaminson. Kyle, what can you tell us? How have the Hounds stacked up against some of those local teams?
The Hounds have held their own against some of those teams. They've gotten some clutch wins against them. They've also had some tough losses. However, the Hounds team is not letting anything get to them. They're playing with grit and heart, and they're going to go out there and try their best against every team. And they've really held their own this year.
And certainly the Hounds have been playing pretty well, building off some of the momentum from last season, where they got into the state playoffs and got an upset win in the first round. Kyle, what can you tell us about that game?
Yes, they did go, and they upset Steiner last year in that game. They were the 15 seed playing against a 2 seed, and they went in there and they upset them. That was a very big win for them. That gave them a big confidence boost, and now let them know coming into this season that they can hang with anybody, and that it wasn't over till it's over, and they're just as good as any team in their division.
And certainly Coach Faust is doing a great job with them. As we said, the Hounds are playing above 500, and that's really all you need to get into the state playoffs. And then and then anything can happen. Go on from there. And it looks like our keeper there, Kyle Quickly, is going to get the boot off here and try to send this one for the possession for the Greyhounds. What can you tell us about Kyle in his play so far this season?
He's had some very good play this season. He's a senior goalie this year, team captain, so you have very good faith in him. He hasn't let up very many goals this year. They played some good teams this year, and he's really held his own. He really hasn't given up too many goals, and he's a very solid keeper. You expect a lot out of him, and you get a lot out of him, and that's good to see from your senior goalie.
And we actually interviewed Noah Osmond recently for a Northern News piece, and he was speaking highly about Kyle and all the leaders here on the Northern Burlington Greyhounds team and how they can help keep the troops motivated and help bring along the young players. So he had nothing but great things to say, and it's really great when you have a team like this that can build over the years and develop rapport, develop a friendship both on and off the field, and it really shows as the Hounds are not only holding their own tonight but having a really good season. So best of luck to them moving forward. I know the girls soccer team is actually playing pretty competitive as well this season. They are led by Mr. Larry Young, head coach Larry Young, and they've got a great group of girls on that team as well. Kyle, what can you tell us about the girls soccer team this year?
Well, like you said, Mr. Dowd, the girls soccer team is coached by Larry Young. They're holding their own this year, and they'll probably make it into the state playoffs this year. They've hovered right around 500, and we'll see what they can do from there. Both of these teams play with heart, and they're going to give you all they got, and that's good to see.
And certainly all of our teams have been playing well this season. Our Northern football team has had some big victories, as well as some of our girls tennis team. Our cross-country team is dominant as ever, led by Mr. Tim Tedesco. So, best of luck to all of our teams moving forward. And we've had a great lineup of games going on at the farm tonight. So we'll bring you those scores as they come in, as we continue with this local matchup. Now, Kyle, as a student athlete, how do you think, playing in front of the home crowd, playing in front of your friends and your family, senior night, as we spoke of, which is a big moment here, how do you think that has an impact on the Hounds?
That definitely has an impact on the Hounds, Mr. Dowd. Playing in front of your home crowd with the atmosphere they give you. Northern has some great fans. They come out and support the football team, the soccer team when they play here, the field hockey team. So they really have some school spirit, and they come out and cheer their team on, and that really fuels your desire to win for the Northern, whatever sports team it is, whether it be football, soccer, field hockey, or any sport for that matter. Having a home crowd like that, like Northern does, really fuels the fire and makes you want to do your best and, play well for the fans.
And a very proud tradition of Northern sports here. All of our teams are doing really well. If you tune into Northern TV, you could see the girls volleyball team playing against GCIT this season, which was a really hard-fought battle. The girls took them to 3 sets, which was really impressive considering GCIT is the 10th-ranked team in New Jersey, according to a recent NJ.com poll. And obviously the Northern Burlington football team has had some really, really big games this season. Both close victories, close losses, and have a very excellent track record, and hopefully we'll wish them the best of luck coming into the state tournament as well. So, again, I am Mr. James Dowd, joined by Mr. Kyle Forsini. It is October 23rd, 2015. We are here at the farm as the Northern Burlington boys soccer team takes on the Bordentown Scotties in a terrific local matchup between two teams who are playing really well this season and could possibly again meet in the state playoffs. As we stated earlier, Bordentown's coming into this game playing extremely well, 11-1-1, but certainly not invincible, and certainly the Hounds have been holding their own so far in the first half. Kyle, what can you tell us about the that one key game, that one key loss here on the Scotties?
Well, you're right, Mr. Dowd. Bordentown has not proven to be invincible. They were beaten 4-2 by Williamstown, so Williamstown is obviously a good team, but like you said, Bordentown is not invincible. They are a team that if you can, get to them, put up some goals, that you have a good chance to win the game. Which Williamstown did. They put up 4 on them and, gave them their one key loss. So hopefully that Northern can put up some goals tonight and kind of reinforce that and, get Kyle Quigley some goals and try and hold the lead.
And certainly Northern's got a couple of playmakers that are on the court with senior Brad Foreman and Captain Kyle Adams. I understand Kyle Adams just recently reached a milestone. Kyle, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, he reached the most scores goal all time for Northern Burlington, which is, quite the record. That's good for him, obviously. To live to go to school with the same kid as that, it's cool to see. It's cool to kind of live through that kind of Northern history type thing, and good for him. I hope he'll do big things in soccer, which is good to see.
And certainly he also helps lead the team in assists as well. So playmaker on both sides there on the offense. Looks like that ball is going to sail out of bounds as the teams look to regroup and get a throw in here. So we are about 10 minutes underway. Again, first half. Scores tied, 0-0. Looks like the Scotties have a chance there in Northern Territory. And as that one goes side of the post. And so quickly he's going to boot this one out, send this one for a Northern possession. So as we look ahead at the schedule, Kyle, what can you tell us about both teams as they move forward in their seasons?
Well, Bordentown's got a tough upcoming schedule. They play Delran, Hillside, and Newark Tech. Delran, obviously a good team. They'll have a tough battle against them. And Northern has their final game in the regular season against Burlington. So they really finished their schedule against two tough teams. Burlington, who's also in Northern's division, that'll be a key game for them. So if they can take advantage of this one, hopefully, grit one out here, maybe get a win here, a tie, or either way. And then going against Burlington, that'll be a very clutch game. They'll have to go out there and play tough against them. They're not an easy team. So they have two tough games here to finish, like I said. And, with this team, you never know. So they'll give you a good battle both games. So we'll see what they can do.
And obviously we wish both teams the best of luck. As you said, Delran is a really good team, so that's next on the Scotty schedule. Delran is also the home of U.S. soccer star Carly Lloyd, who thrived in the World Cup, so they've got a proud tradition of soccer there in Delran as well. As we continue with this local matchup, the score is still 0-0. We are into the first half. I'm Mr. James Dow, joined by Mr. Kyle Forsini. It is Friday, October 23rd, 2015, and we are here live at the farm for senior night as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds take on the Scotties of Bordentown. Sounds like we got a great home crowd on hand. We've got some turnout there on the Bordentown side as well, so glad to see families and friends and classmates come out and support both teams. Looks like we've just got a possession battle here at midfield. We'll see who can break through and maybe try to get a goal, or at least try to get some shots on goal here and help build momentum as we move forward in this team. Now, Kyle, I understand you're an athlete yourself. Why don't you tell the fans at home a little bit about your athletic accomplishments and your skills here at the Northern Burlington?
I played on the golf team last year, Mr. Dowd. It was the first time in quite some time that the Northern golf team really thrived, and we had a very good season. We went 13-5 last year. We finished second place in our division to Morristown, who won the division for about probably the fifth year in a row. They're a very good team. We played them very tough in our second match. I think we got beat by maybe 5 strokes, which if you don't know golf, that's very close for in a golf match. If you lose by 5, that's pretty good for your team. I played varsity as a freshman last year, which was very cool. It was a great experience. I actually got to play with my brother Chris last year before he graduated. He was a senior last year, and we both played on varsity together. We got to play a few matches together, which was cool. It was really nice, and it was a treat to go out there and play with those guys. And we're coached by Mr. Stephen Malcolm, who's a great coach. Very good with the players, very knowledgeable about golf, interacts with the players well, really knows how to connect with you, and that's what you like as a coach. That's what you like to have. You like to have somebody that you can relate to as your coach, and that really makes you more comfortable. I know being a first-year varsity player and being a freshman, playing with some older kids kind of would intimidate you at first, but they were all very welcoming. We were led by senior Dan Malloy. He played as our number 1 guy, and juniors Travis Mazurek and Elliot Bauer. Also, as I added before, Chris Forsini, my brother, was a varsity player as well. He was also a senior. So, a good season by us, very productive. We got some good guys coming back next season, and, we'll see what we can do. We made a run at states last year. We got in. We didn't perform as well as we would have liked to in states last year, but, there's next year for that. We have confidence going into next year. It was our first year making states in, I think, 5 years, so to get there on my first year was a very promising thing to see for years to come.
So that's certainly, we wish the team the best of luck there. Looked like we almost had a shot on goal there, but it was trapped there by the keeper on the Scotties. He's going to send that one back over to the other side as Bordentown is now going to get possession on the Hound side as we continue to wind down. Great steal there by Keandre Castro. I've had the privilege of having quite a few of the Northern Burlington soccer players in my classes over the years. Brad Foreman, Kyle Adams, Keandre Castro, certainly Joe Lopez, as you spoke of, Abel Nunez, who's also on the team, not currently on the field. But, we've got a great group of kids here and a great group of not just students but athletes. On and off the fields, they do a great job. So we wish them the best of luck. And looks like Quigley's going to send this one past midfield here, and hopefully the Greyhounds can capitalize this. I think the key here is maybe scoring early or getting some key shots early, and that can help, maybe put the Scotties on edge a little bit, maybe send them backpedaling, and once you get the lead, you can help build on that momentum. It's always easier to keep a lead than it is to come back from one, certainly in soccer with goals being so limited. So hopefully, whoever strikes first, somebody can strike first and make some key plays here. And it looks like that was an attempted header there that's going to sail out of bounds. And that boot's going to go back over the first half. Kyle, who are maybe some of the other players that maybe aren't on the field or aren't senior varsity captains that we mentioned on the soccer team that you think could make a big difference tonight or as the season progresses?
Well, as you said, Mr. Dad, Abel Nunez is not currently on the field, but a very good soccer player who went on the field will prove vital, and, he will make some differences. Joe Lopez, as you said before, not a senior captain, but a senior player, very good player. He plays with heart, and he's not going to go down easy. Ethan Shaw, he plays defense, sophomore this year. Very good player. Look out for him in years to come. He's very good. He's good at defense. You can see him right there on the screen, or right there running down the field, number 16. He's a very good player this year. He played varsity last year. He was a freshman. He's going to give you all he's got, as will Zach Willie, who's also a sophomore this year. Both play defense. They're both going to go out there and they're gonna be gritty on defense. Not going to let too much get by them, and they'll play you tough. They'll stick their man and get the ball back to Northern and keep possession for most of the time.
And as you said, with those players, and certainly from your own experiences, getting experience as a freshman on the varsity team is so invaluable, because then you can not only learn how to play with the competition, but it helps build confidence from a young player's perspective, helps them bond with some of the other players on the team, and then when it's their turn to come up and be a junior, be a senior, the other younger guys will look to them, so they'll look for their experiences, they'll look for their own personal expectations, and they can go from there. And certainly that's paid off for both teams. As we said earlier, Northern's playing pretty well this season, and they look to get a state playoff berth. And certainly the Bordentown Scotties have been playing outstanding, and their goalkeeper, as we stated before, has been playing since he was a freshman. So, that experience, that growth has really showed here from both teams, and it looks like Northern may have a chance on goal here as we move forward. Looks like Brad Foreman's got the ball and is going to attack here. A little mix-up stolen there by the Scotties. And looks like it's gonna try to cross their midfield. Northern's gonna retain possession, so that's good. Hopefully we can make the most of this.
Well, as you said, there was Zach Willie there on the defense. Bordentown was trying to advance the ball past midfield. They kicked it a little too far past themselves, and Zach Willie booted it back to looked like Brad Foreman, who got the ball there and got the ball down in Bordentown's territory. It looks like Looks like the Bordentown keeper actually is going to boot it downfield and try and retain possession for Bordentown. Like you said, very good goalkeeper. He's been playing since he was a freshman, which, as he touched on before, very key thing. Very experienced, and that's kind of what you want as your goalkeeper and as your seniors. You want to have experience on that side of the ball, and playing from your freshman year is very key. You get to, like you said, you get to talk to the seniors when you're a freshman. You get to learn what they do and how they kind of lead the team. And that's what you hope to do when you're also a senior, is that you have those freshmen and sophomores look up to you, and you kind of become like that role model type thing and what they want to be when they're playing at your age. So kind of just passes down the line from year in, year out, and hopefully Northern and Bordentown can get good seniors on the field as they both progress in their seasons.
Looks like Northern's going to get a chance on goal here against the Scotties. Looks like we got a little mix-up here, a little skirmish here for the ball. We'll see if Northern can make the most of this and maybe get a shot on goal. And the ball's going to get sent the other way here. And it looks like it's going to go out of bounds. Also want to take this opportunity to thank our production crew who's on hand, Mr. Brian Baranowski, Mr. Michael Ford, Ms. Jordan McDonald, Ms. Morgan Davis, who are here on hand as our production crew for Northern TV. Again, I'm Mr. James Dowd, joined by Mr. Kyle Forsini. We are here live at the farm. It is Friday, October 23rd. as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds take on the Bordentown Scotties in a great local matchup. As we stated before, Northern's playing above 500 this season. They've got a really impressive record at 9-7-1, and the Bordentown Scotties have been playing outstanding, currently leading their division, which is the Patriot Division, and they are currently 11-1-1. So two good teams. Northern certainly got the home field tonight, so maybe they can make the most of that. And they've certainly been playing really aggressive on offense, and it's shown as we have a 0-0 score here. We're about halfway through the first half in this great local matchup.
Northern here is really trying to keep possession of the ball. You know, they're really trying to keep the ball down in Bordentown's side of the field, which they've really done well right now. For the past 3 minutes, Northern's really kept the ball down that side, and the defense has played well. Every time the Bordentown goalkeepers try to kick it downfield, we've kind of retained possession on them and not really let them get too many shots on goal. You know, Bordentown's definitely a threat. Definitely a good team. They're deadly if they keep possession. But Northern's really done a nice job in kind of keeping them on their heels and not really letting them, get too ahead of themselves and kind of feel like they have retained possession for most of the game. And really hasn't let Bordentown become too much of a threat just yet. Obviously, that can change in the blink of an eye. Bordentown's a very good team, and if Northern can just keep playing the way they're playing, one goal might be enough for this game. So if they can get senior goalie Kyle Quigley a goal, maybe he can just, hold Bordentown to nothing, or we'll have to score more than that. But either way, they've played very well so far. They've really kept this a close game.
And certainly Coach Faust and the boys have done their homework, as you stated, keeping the offense of Bordentown away from the ball and keeping the ball on their side will certainly benefit the Hounds. You want to keep the score low, because certainly we've seen that Bordentown is more than capable of scoring goals. But like you said, when you get a lead on them, maybe you can pull it off like Williamstown did earlier in the season. So you want to keep the ball out of Horner's hands, so to speak. You want to make sure Matt Horner or Adam Bijou or Andre Justin aren't, getting their feet on the ball, so to speak, and you want to keep it to our side, and hopefully we can get a goal early and we can build that momentum and continue it into the second half. So we're about halfway through the first half. Looks like the ball's going to get sent to about midfield here, and looks like we may have a goal opportunity here. Oh, that was a great play. Saved by the Hounds. Looks like that was number 3 on defense for the Hounds. Who was that player there, Kyle?
That was Zach Willie, as I touched on before. He's a sophomore this year. Like I said, he's going to stick his man. He's very good on defense. That was a great opportunity there for Bordentown to try and get a one-on-one matchup with the goalie, and Zach stepped in there and booted it out and let his defense get back down the field. Kind of load up the box and not really let Bordentown get too much of a possession going. As you can see here, Northern's trying to retain possession and bring the ball up on Bordentown's side of the field, as they've done. Looks like a pass from Joe Lopez there to Brad Foreman, and then Northern's got the ball back and trying to retain possession again, not really let Bordentown kind of threaten them too much, which is good.
So our boys have certainly done a great job, and as you said, great defense, highly aggressive on offense, and looks like Brad Foreman there is going to pass it over. Little miscue there. Bordentown's going to retain possession, but like we said, one goal can make a difference. It could be a super close game so far. We've certainly got a lot of soccer left to play, but certainly the teams are going to try to get an early lead and build on that. And we've got a great local crowd here on hand to support our boys. So, best of luck to them. Looks like Bordentown's going to send this one to about midfield, cross midfield there, and sail out of bounds. And the teams are going to regroup here for the throw-in.
Throw in there. Looks like that ball just went out of bounds again. So it looks like it's going to be another throw in here from Bordentown. Looks like Bordentown's got possession right now and booting it to the left side of the field here is Bordentown. Northern's really trying to stick to him, though. They're really not trying to let him get too much of a possession, as you can see here. Every time Bordentown has the ball, there's a Northern defender trying to hang right around him, really not give him too much open space, as Quigley boots that ball out of bounds. And here's going to be a throw-in from Bordentown.
Looks like we're going to get a quick sub here on both sides. Teams look to get a little breather here for some of the players and get some fresh legs in there as we continue to wind down in the first half. Again, I'm Mr. James Dad. I'm joined by student athlete and video production student, Mr. Kyle Forsini, and we are here live at the farm. It is Friday, October 23rd. It is the first half as the Bordentown Greyhounds are currently tied 0-0 with the Bordentown Scotties. And looks like we're going to get the throw in there.
throw in there. Northern's going to retain possession there. Looks like that was Zach Willie there, kicking that ball upfield. Got it right back to around midfield as Bordentown boots it back to Northern side of the field. We got a little midfield battle going on here again. Ball's kind of been bouncing around off bodies a little bit here, and looks like Northern's battling for it right now. We got about 2 guys around the Bordentown defender. As looks like Northern kicks it almost out of bounds, but we retain possession on Bordentown's side of the field. If we can keep it down this side of the field, there's a good chance that they can get some good goal opportunities. As it's booted downfield there into the corner on Bordentown's side of the field. Northern keeps possession. So, making some nice moves there. Looked like that was Brad Foreman. He crossed it. Oh, off the post.
Oh, man, that would have been a great goal for the Greyhounds. Kyle Adams did a beautiful job setting up that play, and he sent it in the air, and Brad Foreman had a terrific header. It just hit the post. That would have been such a big goal for the Greyhounds. And, soccer, like any sport, is a game of inches. The ball goes one way, an inch one way or the other can make all the difference. But that was a terrific opportunity there, terrific setup by 2 of our seniors there. Did a great job. Sometimes the ball just doesn't fall your way. But certainly have the Scotties on their toes, and we could very well have a 1-0 lead right now. The Scotties and Northern could very easily be leading this game, but they're still highly aggressive on offense, which is what you like to see as both teams continue to compete and fight for the ball.
As you said, that goal would have been huge for Northern, but although the goal wasn't made, that's a very good confidence booster for Northern. They know that they had probably the best goal opportunity of the game. Bordentown really hasn't had too many chances, so to speak. They've kept the ball sort of at midfield. I mean, Northern, I think, has won the possession battle as of now, as Bordentown's got the ball on Northern's end right now, battling for the ball down here on this right corner. But as you said, Kyle Adams with a great setup there to Brad Foreman. A very good chance for Northern to try to get on top and hopefully get some momentum going for this game, because 1 goal will go a long way. This is going to be a tough matchup. Might be a low-scoring matchup, too. Good goalie in Kyle Quigley. If you can get him a goal, kind of get him some confidence, get your offense some confidence, you never know what can happen. This team does have a loss in Bordentown. They were beat by Williamstown. So, as I touched on before, they're not invincible. So, if you can get out to a lead on them in this first half and hopefully keep that, good things can come from that. So, hopefully Northern can bounce back from that goal missed and kind of get another opportunity and try and make another one.
And as you said, keeping the ball out of the Scotties area is so very important. They certainly are more than capable of scoring a lot of goals, have had a lot of close games, but their leading scorer, Matt Horner, if you set him up, it's going to be tough for the Hounds to bounce back if we have a big deficit. But certainly holding our own, doing a great job. It's 0-0. We are more than 3/4 of the way done here with the first half. Looks like Northern's going to get a throw in there and retain possession here on the side of the Scotties. So certainly being really aggressive. Like we said, Coach Faust and the boys have certainly done their homework, certainly tried to find some of the weaknesses. May have another goal opportunity chance here. That one's going to get blocked. And certainly the fans and the crowd are fired up as the Hounds are doing a great job here. Another terrific defensive stop there by the Hounds. Keeping the Scotties off balance, keeping them on the defense, so to speak. So we're doing a great job here. Great header there by the Scotties, and that ball looks like it's going to get sent out of bounds. And we're going to get a quick throw in here as we regroup here with just over 12 minutes to play in the first half here at the farm.
About 12 minutes left in this first half, and Northern still, kept it at a 0-0 game, which is, that's good for them to keep it that close. Bordentown's got a high-powered offense if they can get going. And hopefully Northern can, hold them in check and really not let them get going. And kind of, they've got to be tired here at this first half. It's really coming to a close. And if they can hold Bordentown to nothing here, kind of get some fresh legs back on the field after the half, that'll be vital for them. So we got a little pause and play going on right here. Looks like Bordentown's probably going to send one down the field from their goalie. Here comes goal kick, looks like. Sent down the field by Bordentown's goalie. And looks like Bordentown, they're going to take possession here. Oh, no, good play by Northern there to keep that ball from getting to Bordentown's hands. And, Bordentown was trying to advance that ball into Northern's territory, but Northern did a very good job there playing defense and getting that ball to try and retain possession and not let Bordentown drive too far.
As we have the score 0-0, just want to actually thank one of our video production students and graphic students, Miss Jessie Ireland, who designed the score logo that the fans at home here are looking at. Did a terrific job here, and looks like we're going to get a throw in here at about midfield as both teams highly competitive tonight. In front of a great crowd, home crowd, and some supporters too from the Bordentown. You know, these schools are relatively close. Just a few miles apart, and it's great to see fans from both sides come and support the local teams in this matchup that's still currently 0-0. So this game could really go either way. We are winding down the first half. Looks like Northern might get a shot on goal. That ball is going to get sent back the other way, but both these teams playing really well this season. Certainly well over 500. The Scotties are 11-1, the Hounds 9-7-1, which is still really impressive, and both teams looking to get a big win here. Confidence boost. We're going to wind down the season in just a few weeks, and then we're going to head into the state playoffs. And as Kyle, you stated earlier, Northern did a great job last season in the state playoffs as a 15 seed, defeating number 2 seed Steinert, another local team, another powerhouse. And once you get in the tournament, anything can happen, as we've seen from many of our Northern sports teams who have done a great job. The Northern Burlington football team's done a great job in the state playoffs the last few years. Our girls volleyball team just a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago or so, advanced to the state tournament. So once you get in there, anything can happen. So the key is really just playing well, building momentum, getting into the tournament, and then going from there.
Yeah, as you said, you get into that state tournament, anything can happen. And hopefully this Northern team can keep it going and get in there and pull off an upset or something.
And our boys have certainly done a great job competing tonight against the Scotties of Bordentown. The team has been playing really well this season. As we stated, they've already exceeded their win total from last season with 9 wins already. Last season's team finished 8-10-2. That team was led by seniors Brian Ford, Elliot Bauer, Gavin Oko, Jeff Ricciani, Ryan Cook, Tyler Brewer, Zeb Kahn, Adam Chodes, who contributed quality minutes to the boys soccer team. So this group has been doing a really great job for Northern. Great kick there by Quigley. And the team actually has gotten off to one of their best starts in about 20 years. Talking to Jacob Iraka, he was saying that the 4-0 start really helped boost this team's confidence. And it showed too, because the team also was invited to the coaches tournament for the first time in 15 years. And there's a great play there by Northern. And only the top 16 teams in the state get invited. In South Jersey get invited. So the fact that one of our teams got in there, which is a great accomplishment. Looked like that play was trying to get set up there by Kyle Adams, got broken up there by the Scotties. Jacob was also telling me that beating Cinnaminson was a big confidence booster this season. After the Hounds were dealt a tough loss last season at Cinnaminson, getting a big win against them, against the rival team, did a lot to help boost the confidence and the morale, and certainly playing against Bordentown it showed. Bordentown has defeated the Hounds the last 2 years in a row. Last year we lost 3-0 at Bordentown, and the year before that a nail biter away at Bordentown 3-2. And there's a shot on goal by the Scotties, stopped by Quigley. So hanging with the Scotties tonight. Game is still 0-0. Defensive stop there by Kyle Quigley. Our boys have been really aggressive on offense. Had a great chance to score a goal earlier. Brad Foreman, just unfortunate luck, the ball hit the post. But we could very easily be up in this game 1-0. So we've been doing a great job, and it looks like we're going to try to set up here for an offensive play. So as we get set up here, the Hounds are looking to capitalize on this. Ball's going to get headed out by the Scotties and sent back to around midfield. As we stated, we've got a great group of upperclassmen on the field, but we've also had some really key contributions from underclassmen. As I said, I was talking to Jacob Iraka today, and he was saying that some young players, some freshman players, have really made some solid contributions to varsity. Specifically, player Christian Hurt, who's had 4 goals this year for varsity, which is, a great accomplishment for a young player, as well as Justin Dwyer, who's been playing really well, in addition to our other varsity players and JV players who have really helped the Hounds this season. So we've got Kyle Quigley here as the keeper. He's going to send this one. Looks like he's going to boot it, try to send the possession back over to the side of the Scotties. Hopefully the Greyhounds can capitalize. Again, for those of you just joining in, I am Mr. James Dow, joined by student athlete and video production student Kyle Forsini, and we are here live at the farm. It is Friday, October 23rd, 2015, as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds take on the Scotties of Bordentown in a great local matchup. Looks like senior Keandre Castro there trying to make a stop. And that was a great defensive play there. Had that ball gotten by, it would have been one-on-one with the keeper. We would have been in some trouble. But Northern's defense definitely holding their own tonight. And their offense has been highly aggressive, so we've been keeping the Scotties on their heels, definitely playing really well, and certainly being in front of our home crowd, friends and family and supporters has helped. Looks like the Scotties are going to set up here for a corner kick. And we'll see how this one goes. And that ball's going to get broken up. Look like a header there by the Hounds. So that ball's going to sail out of bounds. Looks like Kyle Quigley's going to kick this one out. We've got just over 7 minutes to play here in the first half. Extremely close and competitive game here, 0-0. Northern could very easily be leading this game 1-0. A header by Brad Foreman earlier just had some bad luck and hit the post. That could have very easily gotten by and scored and had us on top of this game 1-0. But, you know, like we said before, it's a game of inches, and certainly the ball just didn't bounce our way on that one. But we have been really competitive tonight. We have been holding Bordentown to very few shots on goal. And like I said, we could very easily be leading this game 1-0. But still plenty of soccer to play. We are still currently only in the first half. Just over 6 minutes to play here, as these two teams continue to play and continue to compete. Northern, as we stated, has been really aggressive on the offensive side of the ball, and that's something I think the Hounds have really improved on this season. They've scored 41 goals so far this season in just about 19 games, so they've scored just over 2 goals a game. And they've given up just over 2 goals a game as well, so they've been playing pretty consistent on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And looks like that ball's going to get headed out there by the Hounds, and hopefully our offense can set something up. Looks like it was broken up there again by the Scotties. But that's really been the key, you know, the combination of having some advanced players on the field, a team that's been playing together for a few years, building camaraderie, building trust, getting these guys, grooming these guys year after year to play together, play as a team. And like we said, it's shown. You know, the team has improved from last season and the year before. Tournament berth, you know, looking ahead at the state playoffs, best start in 15 years. So a lot of good things here happening for the Hounds as we continue to play the Scotties, who are one of the best teams in South Jersey. Really tough matchup here. Game is still 0-0. Looks like that one's going to try to send back over midfield. And our offense is still going to try to make things happen. So still plenty of time here in the first half. Certainly a goal by either team could really shift the momentum as they've been competing in the first half here, trying to capitalize. And as we stated before, Northern could very easily be winning this game with a header that just went off the post. So the Scotties sort of dodged one on that end earlier, but looks like Kyle Adams is going to try to set up a play here. Got trapped by a couple of players from Bordentown. And that was going to trickle up to the goalie here, who's going to try to send this one over midfield. So that was a boot by the senior keeper of the Scotties, and Northern's looking to maybe try to make something happen here with just under a few minutes in the first half. Looks like we're going to get a quick throw in here by Brad Foreman. And that one's going to get sent. Oh, it looked like it was out of bounds, but it's going to stay in play. With just over a minute to play here in the first half. Again, I am Mr. James Dowd, joined by student athlete and video production student Mr. Kyle Forsini. We are here live at the farm. It is October 23rd, 2015. As we wind down the first half here, just under a minute to play, as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds take on the Scotties of Bordentown in a awesome local matchup between two teams. As we stated earlier, Northern is currently 9-7-1 on the season, and the Scotties are 11-1-1. So, two teams with high expectations. Look like that. It's going to try to be a shot on goal. Got deflected. It's going to sail out of bounds with just about 30 seconds here left to play in the first half. Just want to thank our friends and family and fans on support. Always doing a great job here at the farm, supporting our local teams. And the first half is going to wind down here with the score 0-0, but still plenty of soccer to play. A whole entire half, 45 minutes left to play in the game. A lot of action going on. Looks like that's going to just about do it here for the first half. So stay tuned, folks. We're going to take a little break, and we'll come back in the second half with this great local matchup. And we're back. We're about to get started here in the second half. For those of you just joining us, I am Mr. James Dow, joined by Northern student athlete and video production student Mr. Kyle Forsini. We are here live at the farm. It is Friday, October 23rd, as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds take on the Scotties of Bordentown in a great local matchup. Both these teams have played really well in the first half. We are currently at a 0-0 tie. And I think the Hounds have done a really great job of keeping the Scotties on the defense, keeping the ball out of their hands, so to speak, and keeping the scoring opportunities low. We've had some great chances by the Hounds. There was a header earlier in the first half by Brad Foreman that just bounced off the post, could have went in. So the Greyhounds could very easily be up in this game 1-0, but you know, those are the breaks of the game, and sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way, so to speak. But there's a great save there by the keeper of Bordentown, Dino Gramatsaris. So he's been doing a great job today. He's one of the standouts in the BCSL. So you know, we're picking up on the game action here as the Hounds look to retain possession. So Kyle, what are some of the things that have stood out to you here in the first half?
I've been very impressed, actually, how Northern's really, kept the ball out of Bordentown's hands. Really, they've tried to control possession. They really haven't let Bordentown keep the ball in their end, and they really haven't let Bordentown get too many great chances at goal. So that's been impressive through this first half. So if they can keep doing that, they'll have a good chance to win here, I think, today. If they can keep the ball down in Bordentown's half, which looks like they're trying to do right here. They're trying to get possession down there. That'll be a big plus for them. So that's something they should try and keep going here in the second half.
And certainly the Hounds have to look out for Matt Horner. He is the offensive star on the Scotties. In 21 games this season, he has in 11 games this season, he has 10 goals, and in 21 games, he's got 19 goals. So he's had several multi-goal games as well as leading the team in assists. And it looks like that one's going to get by the keeper there, and that one's going to score for the Scotties. Looks like a little miscommunication there on the defense, and Bordentown's going to take the lead here, 1-0.
Yeah, and giving Bordentown a lead is never what you want to do. They're a tough team to play for, or to come from behind on. But Northern's going to come out here and they're going to play just like they were trying to play before. And then they had some good opportunities down there in the first half and trying to score some goals. So if they can convert on those opportunities upcoming here, and get this game back to a 1-1 tie and try and go from there. But like I said before, it's not easy to play against Bordentown from behind. So they definitely are going to have their work cut out for them here.
Still plenty of soccer left here in the second half. Just under 43 minutes to play here, and the Hounds are currently down 1-0. But we've got some offensive standouts, as we talked about in the first half. Kyle Adams, Brad Foreman, certainly capable of scoring goals. I mentioned my discussion with Jacob Iraka, who told us some of the freshmen who have been contributing. So we certainly have got some offensive talent out there. Joe Lopez as well. Maybe we can make a play here and get right back into this one.
Yeah, for sure. Those seniors, they're determined to try and win this game. It's their senior night. It's their last senior night, so they want to go out here on top. And they have obviously a tough challenge here. Bordentown's a great team, so it's not going to be easy for them. But as we had both touched on, they're going to be determined to try and go out there and win this game. And I think if if they can keep playing the way they were playing and maybe just get a few more opportunities, they'll get right back in this game. They're definitely not out of it yet. It's only 1-0, so still got a lot of soccer left, and they can really make a comeback here.
Looks like we've got a great group of fans and community members and family and students out here, so hopefully we can rally behind this home crowd and get ourselves back on the board here as our boys take on the Scotties. So Kyle, what can you tell us about the other games on the farm here tonight?
Well, as you said, not only will they try to rally around the crowd, the girls soccer team, who also played tonight against Bordentown, had Bordentown come into Northern, and the girls soccer team won that game 5-4. So if anything, the boys can try and draw off some positives from that. They know that their girls varsity team pulled off an upset against Bordentown, so that's always good to see. They'll have some fuel there to try and get back in this game and try and come out with a win as well as the girls team did.
Ooh, that looks like another goal score there by the Scotties as they take a 2-0 lead here in this one. That was a tough break there for the Hounds as the ball just sailed past quickly there on the defensive end.
Yeah, for sure. 2-0's never an easy hole to come out of, especially not when you're playing a team that's 11-1. But if they can try and just keep retaining possession, you're not out of it yet. You still got 40 minutes left of soccer, so you got plenty of time left. You just got to hope that Northern doesn't get down on themselves and they kind of just try and bring back what they were doing in the first half and keeping possession and, as that ball sails out of bounds. But try and keep possession and not let Bordentown control it right now. That's kind of what Bordentown's done. They've kind of kept the ball in Northern's half this period or this half. So if they can keep possession as it looks like they're trying to do here, they'll have some more opportunities, I think, before this game's over.
So that was 2 quick goals there in the first 5 minutes of the second half as the Scotties lead 2-0. Those goals were by Andre Justin and Matt Horner, 2 of the top scorers on the Bordentown Scotties. Matt Horner, like I said, is one of the top goal scorers in Burlington County. He's just behind Francis Canoe of Burlington City and Isaias Rodriguez of West Hampton Tech. Both those guys are top 3 goal scorers, and certainly Northern's own Kyle Adams is in rounding out the top 10. So we certainly have got some goal scorers here, and hopefully we can capitalize on this opportunity here and get maybe a shot on goal, or at least keep Bordentown on the defensive.
Yeah, for sure. As it looks like that ball, a good header there, but it looks like it was headed back out past out of the box, and looks like Northern sailed that ball out of bounds. So it looks like it's going to be a goal kick coming up here for Bordentown. But if Northern can keep chances like that, they'll eventually have an opportunity. So if they can keep the ball down in this half, looks like somebody might be injured there on the field, but you're hoping that he's all right. But if they keep getting chances like that, Northern definitely will have opportunities to get shots on goal, and that's ultimately what you want to have. Hopefully one of them will go in eventually, and then you get more energy back in this game, because when you're down 2-0, it's not easy to have that positive energy, especially when you're playing a team that's 11-1. You kind of get down on yourself. So hopefully Northern doesn't do that, and hopefully they can keep positive and just try and claw their way back into this game.
And we see Miss H there, our trainer, athletic trainer, does a great job. Her and her staff do a great job with all of our athletes, not just soccer, but football and girls soccer as well, and volleyball. So doing a great job, and hopefully, we just walk it off that injury. Maybe it's just a pulled muscle or a quick, maybe just pulled muscle. So maybe we could just keep the momentum going and keep into this game. We still got plenty of soccer left here, about 38 minutes left here in the second half. And Northern can maybe build on that and rally around that and, come out here and put some points on the board.
Definitely they're going to have to put some points on the board. About 30 minutes left in this game, so still plenty of time. No time to not time to panic yet. You got a lot of soccer left. Playing a good team is never going to be easy, but hopefully they can rally around themselves, kind of get some fire in their stomachs, get a little energy going, and kind of stick it to this Bordentown team and let them know that they're not going to go down easy.
As we said, those goals by Bordentown were scored by Andre Justin and Matt Horner, and they are 3 of the offensive juggernauts on the Scotties. So hopefully we can bounce back and get that. We also talked about, Kyle, some of the games here for the Hounds. Northern's going to finish their season with an away game at Burlington Township, and then a home game at Pemberton. So certainly if you're around and you're in the community and you want to stop by and support our boys, those are the next 2 games on the docket. And Bordentown's got one more game this season at Delran, as we spoke of. That's a tough team. So maybe even if they pull out a victory here, Delran can give them a tough battle, and we'll see how the seeding shapes out here in the state tournament approaching.
Yeah, for sure. Delran's not going to be an easy opponent for Bordentown. I think that game you said is in Delran, so that's not going to be easy. They're a good team, so hopefully they'll give them a tough battle. And Northern playing Burlington, definitely not going to be easy. They're really ending their schedule with 2 tough games, but this team's got a lot of heart into them. So you know what? I think they'll try and go out there and fight as hard as they can against these 2 teams. They know it's not going to be easy, but they're 2 teams that they're kind of like your rival. They're not far away. They're kind of close. Bordentown's only about 5-6 miles away from here, so definitely kind of in your backyard, and it's kind of a little rivalry going on here. So hopefully that'll fuel Northern in itself, and they'll kind of rise to the challenge and play these teams tough.
Looked like that was Andre Justin there trying to get an assist for the Scotties. As we said, he is number 4 in assists in the division, in the county rather, and just trailing. Oh, great save there by Quickly. Just trailing Kyle Adams, Northern's own Kyle Adams, who's number 5 in the county in assists. So we've certainly got some playmakers out on the field here, and we've certainly got plenty of soccer left to play in the second half. Northern is currently down 2-0 against the Scotties of Bordentown in this great local matchup here on Northern TV.
As you had said, that was a great save by Quigley there to try and keep Northern in this game, not to go down 3-0. That's a hole that's not easy to come out of. The only big difference for Northern is that this half, Bordentown's really trying to keep possession of the ball here. That's what Northern did very well in the first half, and that's part of the reason why they kept them off the board there. Is Northern really held possession there, and there were a lot of midfield battles, and they really weren't giving Bordentown the ball for too long. They would get a few passes back and forth, but Northern would try and intervene. But this half, Bordentown's kind of kept the ball in Northern's their half of the field, and they've kind of strung some passes together and got some pretty good shots on goal. Unfortunately, they've made 2 of them, but credit to them, they've got some of the best seniors in the division, and they when they get opportunities like that on goal, they're going to take advantage of them. So you hope Northern can limit them to less shots on goal, and then hopefully Northern can get some of their own and capitalize on them.
Looks like we had a quick little injury here, and Miss H is going to head out here and take care of our boys. As we said, she does a great job taking care of all of our student athletes, not just in soccer. So hopefully we can walk this one off and get right back into the game here. So we're going to pick back up here on the game action. Northern's currently down 2-0. The Bordentown Scotties had a quick injury timeout there, but we're back in the game. Like I said, we've got a great group of fans here as we get the throw in here. Looks like Brad Foreman with a header.
Looks like Bordentown's going to boot it downfield towards Northern's end. Hopefully Northern can retain possession here as Bordentown strings about a few passes together here.
As we said earlier tonight, the girls soccer team defeated the girls of Bordentown. Coach Larry Young's done a great job with our girls this season, with standouts Kristen Harvey and Kendall Brewer and Mackenzie Santucci and a lot of other great and talented girls soccer players. Got a big win tonight here, 5-4 on the farm, and still plenty of soccer left here as our boys trail 2-0 against Bordentown.
Definitely plenty of soccer to go here. But as you touched on, girls had won their game today, so hopefully the boys take some positives from that and kind of hopefully channel that into their own victory. Down 2-0 isn't going to be easy, but if they can play like they did in the first half, they'll have a chance. 2 goals is never easy to come back from, so just take it 1 goal at a time, but hopefully, you can string something together and get some positive vibes back in you, Just try and make this Bordentown team a little uncomfortable. They've kind of been, smooth sailing here in this second half. They really haven't had too much trouble with Northern, but, hopefully Northern can kind of make that possession battle go back their way and get some pressure back on Bordentown.
And as we said earlier, this game could very easily, Northern could have very easily had the lead in the first half going into the second half, and the score could very easily be 2-1. We had a great shot on goal in the first half, a header by Brad Foreman that just bounced off the post. That could have very easily been a goal, and those are the breaks of the game. But we are hanging with this team, as we stated earlier. Bordentown has been tremendous this season with 11 wins, 11-1-1 has been their overall record. Northern's currently standing at 9-7-1. So 2 highly competitive teams with high expectations as we wind down the season here, heading into the state playoffs. So a win for either team is really key, and both these teams have been playing really, really well.
Yeah, for sure. 11-1-1 is a great record for Bordentown. You got to give them a lot of props, but this Northern team is really, as I touched on earlier, they're kind of a surprise team this year. A lot of teams didn't expect them to be this good. They had not a down season last year. They were a 15 seed, which is never ideal, but they pulled off a great upset versus Steiner, which was good for this school. It really kind of raised some hopes for this upcoming year, and they've really, I think, they've really come in here and played up to their ability. They've gone out in some of these games and they've kind of held their own in their division, kind of given a run at the division title. 9-7-1 is nothing to be upset about, and you were, like you said before, you could have easily been up 1-0 on this Bordentown team, and taken a lot of positives from that first half. Haven't played just quite as well in the second half, but still got a lot of soccer left. So hopefully Northern can turn this game around and kind of get right back into it.
And as we stated earlier, Northern's had quite a few close games, so they could very easily have 11 wins as well as we continue in here in the second half. And it looks like Northern is still trying to be highly aggressive on offense, so it's always good to see as we try to stay in this game. Coach Faust has done a great job this season keeping the troops motivated. And as I said, we've got a lot of young talent as well coming up. I spoke of some freshmen earlier who made some really good contributions to the team, and some JV players. And so, great docket of games here at the farm tonight from all of our sports levels. Kyle, what can you tell us about some of those games?
Well, for sure, Northern has had a lot of close games, and like you said before, they could just as easily have 11 wins. And like you were saying, they've had a lot of contributions from some younger players, which is good to see because that's good for upcoming years. You have some great senior talent this year, and then you hope to have some in the upcoming years. And maybe at this time next year they will have 11 wins. Just haven't sometimes been able to capitalize on those close games, but that's sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way, and that's going to happen. But Northern, I think they've handled a lot of adversity well this year. In those close games, they've had some great wins versus Pennsauken and Florence in those close games where, both of those teams are, they're filled with great talent, and Northern kind of, beat both of those teams and, kind of got some fuel from those wins, kind of believed in themselves a little bit more and, trying to take those positives into this game. Obviously they knew that this was going to be a tough challenge coming to this game. It's never going to be easy playing a team with 11 wins, but you just got to believe in yourself, and I think Northern has really, has done that this game. So hopefully they can keep these positives rolling and, try and get some possession going here. Hopefully we can get some possessions going here and try and score a goal.
So just under 30 minutes to play here in the second half, and for those of you just joining us, I'm Mr. James Dowd, joined by student athlete and video production student Kyle Forsini, and we are here live at the farm. It is October 23rd, 2015, as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds take on the Bordentown Scotties in this great local matchup of two teams as they wind down their season heading into the state playoffs. And as we stated, both these teams have had great seasons. Kyle Quilligy, our goalie, has been one of a tremendous standouts on the defensive end for Northern this season, leading the division in saves, and certainly Northern's own Kyle Adams has had a tremendous season, both as a leading goal scorer and assist leader, and moving up the rankings in Northern history here, getting his name among the elite soccer players. So tremendous season so far. We're winding down this second half here, like we said, about 30 minutes to go, but still anybody's game. Northern certainly only down 2 goals. We're more than capable of scoring goals in a short time. We saw the Scotties score 2 quick goals in just under 5 minutes as we started the second half. So certainly, goal scoring is not impossible here, and we still got plenty of soccer to play.
Yeah, as you said, scoring 2 goals in 5 minutes for Bordentown, that's quite an achievement for them. You just got to hope that doesn't take the wind out of Northern sails, because once you give up 1 goal there, you kind of get a little down on yourself. But then another one in the next 4 minutes is definitely something that's not ideal. But this Northern team looks like they're still going right at it. They're not giving up yet. Obviously they still got a lot of soccer left to play, so they're gonna try and gut this one out. And as it looks like Bordentown is trying to get the ball closer to Northern's goal. Good pass there. But Northern's been playing some good defense after those 2 goals to kind of give them up in a quick 5 minutes, but they've really held Bordentown in check after that. So if they can kind of get some little possessions of their own, they'll be right back in here.
And it's certainly been the tale of 2 halves. Northern certainly dominated the first half, both offensively and defensively. And Bordentown has come out here focused in the second half and put up 2 quick goals. But if you look at the shots on goal and the attempts, it's been relatively equal. Kyle Quigley's done a great job for Northern. Dino Gramatzeris has done a great job for the Scotties at Bordentown. So this game could very easily be tied. They've just gotten a couple plays to go their way, and they have the lead. But, the Hounds still doing a great job. Look like we're still fighting for possession, still trying to get on the board here. And I think even if we can just get a goal, that'll really help boost some confidence here for our team. And you never want to lose a game, but certainly if you lose a tough one to a great team, it's a good loss, so to speak. So there are moral victories, and certainly we have plenty of time left here. So we don't want to discount the Hounds, but certainly just hanging with a really good team here, possibly number one seed in the state tournament, is doing a lot, I think, to help the team grow.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as you said, had we scored that goal earlier, that's a 2-1 game, and you're hanging with this team even closer, and you're up 1-0 coming into the second half. Maybe kind of keep your guard up for this entire half, and up 1-0 would have been huge for this team to have some confidence going. Down 2-0, still certainly not out of it. This scoring goals is certainly not impossible. Hopefully that's just kind of what they have to do, is keep possession of the ball and get it down in Bordentown's half. As Bordentown, it looks like they're trying to get a breakaway here. But keeping possession in Bordentown's half like they did the first half, they'll get more chances like they had on that ball that went off the post there. If you can keep possession like that, good things will come of it, and that's just something Northern's going to try and focus here on in this second half.
So the teams are still fighting here for possession, and like we said before, a lot of great games here on the docket for Northern. Kyle, why don't you tell us about some of the other games on this Friday night?
Well, the boys' JV soccer team also played Bordentown, and they pulled off a win. They're in Bordentown. That was a big win for that team. Best of luck to them on the rest of their season. So Northern's kind of trying to get some positive vibes going in here in this Bordentown game. They're kind of building off of what the other teams are doing, which is good to see. And also the girls' field hockey JV team beat Steiner in Steiner. So obviously we root for all of our Northern teams here, and that's good for them. That's a big win for that team, and you root on them for the rest of their season. So good for them going into Steiner and winning. That's obviously not going to be an easy game. Steiner, it's right in your backyard. It's kind of like a little rivalry going on there. But good win for the field hockey team, and we'll root all these Northern teams on for the rest of their seasons.
And certainly with the state playoffs approaching, you can check out all the information on our athletics webpage. Our athletic director, Mr. Dan Uzaki, does a great job keeping our community members informed, and you can check him out on Twitter at NBC Athletics. And certainly you can follow Northern TV on Twitter as well as on YouTube. And you can catch this game and many other athletic events on Northern TV, which is Channel 19 on Comcast, Channel 42 on Vios. Northern is also available via our live stream. So if you don't have any of those service providers, if you have Dish Network or DirecTV, you can check out Northern TV's live stream via our webpage. And we also have the Northern TV app at appcatch.com. So a lot of ways to stay plugged in to Northern, a lot of ways to follow all the sports and athletics and happenings here at the farm as we continue this great local matchup with just over 20 minutes to play here in the second half, as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds trail the Scotties of Bordentown 2-0.
Well, as you said, Northern had a good shot on goal there, it looked like, in Bordentown's half just about a minute ago. So if they can, get another shot like that, hopefully they can put something past the goalie and kind of get some good momentum going. As Northern tries to regain possession in Bordentown's half. But that's kind of something that they have to really, just focus on, is keeping the ball in Bordentown's half. They've kind of been playing on their heels a little bit this half just because Bordentown's really been on the attack. As you said, it's kind of a tale of two halves. Northern was kind of doing exactly what Bordentown's doing now in the first half. They were really keeping the ball down in Bordentown's half. They really weren't giving Bordentown too many opportunities on goal. And, Bordentown really, even this half, hasn't had too many opportunities on goal. This kind of has been a very evenly matched game. Bordentown got those two to fall in those 5 minutes, which is never, what you want as a Northern fan. But, if Northern can just kind of get some shots on goal as Bordentown had done earlier in this half, they could just as easily, tie this game like Bordentown went up 2-0. They could just as easily, in 5 minutes, tie the game at 2-0. And as we said before, this game could just as easily be 2-1. So, kind of a lot of ifs going on here. But if Northern can just kind of keep the ball in Bordentown's half like they're doing now, they'll definitely get some good chances.
And as we stated before, those two goals by the Scotties were by Andre Justin and by Matt Horner. And as I said before, Matt Horner has been a tremendous offensive standout here for the Scotties. He's had 19 goals so far this season and 6 assists. And he's had 6 multi-goal games, so he's certainly been highly aggressive and certainly done a great job for his team. And when you got a player like that on the other team, it's tough to stop. Especially somebody as dominant as that. And Northern has done a great job so far. Holding him to only 1 goal. And then they've got Andre Justin, who contributed, and he's an assist leader in the county and a goal scorer himself. So two tough goals by 2 great players. But we're still competing, and there's still about 20 minutes left here of soccer, so still plenty of time. Get on the board, build some momentum, and then go from there.
Yeah, definitely going to be tough to keep both of those guys off the board, either one of them, So I think Northern did a very good job there in the first half, keeping both of them off the board. That kind of, got some positives going for them. Trying to keep 2 great players off the board isn't going to be easy, but, just trying to hang right in here. Try and not let Bordentown get any more shots on goal. Try and keep quickly. Try and keep him alone there in goal. Don't let anything try and get near him, and keep the ball in Bordentown's half here. But, Northern's got to try and just win that possession battle. Hopefully they can retain possession here. Try and get the ball down towards Bordentown's goal and kind of get a little pressure going on Bordentown. Trying to, let them know that they're still hanging around here and that they can't be lackadaisical.
And as we said, it is senior night here at the farm, and we've had our seniors on the team doing a great job contributing. And Kyle, just remind our fans at home some of the seniors we've seen tonight.
Yeah, senior captains like Kyle Adams, Kyle Quigley, and Brett Myers. Both of those guys, or all those guys, are great players. Kyle, as you had said before, leading the division in saves. That's something great to see. And you got great goal scorers in Kyle Adams and Brett Myers. Kyle Adams set the all-time record for Northern, which is that's awesome to see. It looks like Northern's going to get a free kick here, but also seniors like Joe Lopez, a great soccer player as well. We've seen him on the field a lot tonight. If Northern can retain possession, try and get him some shots on goal. I think they'll definitely have a good chance here.
Looks like we've got a little bit of confusion. Actually, the ball's going to go to Bordentown. They're going to decide to send this one out of their zone here and go back on the offense. And like we said before, this team already has 9 wins this season, a couple of games left, and they've already exceeded their win total from last season. As I stated before, the team finished 8-10-2 last year. This team is 9-7-1, and with 2 games to play. So certainly Coach Faust has built on last season's success, as Kyle, you stated before. Advanced to the state playoffs last year, got a win, and have already exceeded their win total from last year with a couple games to play, and hanging with a really tough team in the Scotties of Bordentown. Again, I am Mr. James Dow, joined by Mr. Kyle Forsini, and we are here live at the farm as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds take on the Bordentown Scotties. It is Friday, October 23rd. It is senior night, 2015. We have just over 15 minutes to play here in the second half, as the Scotties still have a 2-0 lead, but a great group of fans and community members on hand to support our team, and still plenty of soccer to play. So hopefully Northern can get on the board and build from there.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said just a few seconds before, that Northern being 9-7-1, and they've got 2 of their toughest games on the season, on these last 2 games here on the schedule. But, going into state playoffs after this, that's kind of, something that you kind of like to see, having tough teams on the schedule, because it kind of lets you know that, this is kind of the competition they'll be facing in state playoffs. Nobody's going to be easy in state playoffs, obviously. So seeing competition like this is definitely something good to kind of get you ready for that. And it's good to have these games on the final 2 of your season, because you're already in that mode. You're kind of ready for tough games like these. So they're definitely hanging tough with this team. And so that kind of really kind of gives you some positives going into the state playoffs, knowing that, no matter who you play, you believe that you can kind of hang with them. And if they face Bordentown at any time in the state playoffs, they know that, that Bordentown's a team that, kind of has a 2-0 lead right now, but they're definitely hanging with them tough. And, in the first half, they had a great time of possession there. They had a lot of possessions, so hopefully they can try and get that going again.
And that was a great save there by the keeper of the Scotties. As we said, the shots on goal have been pretty equal, and this game could very easily be tied, or Northern could very easily just be down 2-1 with a header from the first half going off the post. But, both teams have been really aggressive here in the second half and continue to fight. As I stated before, Northern has done a great job in all their athletics this season. The football team will continue to play. We had a great game just recently where the Hounds pulled off a victory, and they're going to look ahead to the state playoffs as well. It looks like we got some header action here as the ball is still at midfield, and the Hounds are going to go back on the defense.
Looks like another midfield battle here for Northern Bordentown. Kind of been, the story of most of the first half and a little bit of this half. They've really kind of had a battle of possession going on here, as it looks like Bordentown's trying to keep the ball further into Northern's half. But, Northern has played really well in the defense since they've given up those 2 goals there. As that, off the crossbar there. And it looks like, Northern's going to pass it back to Quigley. That's good defense there. You kind of don't panic. Get a lot of guys there in that box so that Northern can retain possession there, give it back to Quigley, and not panic there. Because 3 goals, never something you want to have to come back from. So 2 goals still manageable for this team. Still got about 15 minutes left of soccer. So definitely got some time left to try and put some points on the board, and hopefully get this game back in Northern's control.
And that was actually the same goal that one of our headers bounced off of earlier in the first half. So it looks like we broke even from the luck standpoint there, but still plenty of soccer left to play here. As I said before, we've got a great crowd on hand as our boys continue to fight the Bordentown Scotties here. It is Senior Night 2015. It is Friday, October 23rd. And again, for those of you just joining us, I'm Mr. James Dow, joined by student athlete and video production student Kyle Forsini, and we are here live at the farm as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds currently trail the Bordentown Scotties 2-0.
As you would say, a great crowd here for Northern. They get a lot of that for all their big games here on this football field, and that's good to see. That kind of gives you some good energy and kind of makes you want to win for your fans. And if the fans really get into the games, they really kind of fuel the fire to your desire to win, and that's good to see. As Northern's really played this team tough, so you can kind of you can put some of that on the fans, letting the team know that they're here for them and that they want to see a good game, and that's kind of what Northern's given them. And the fans really have never been out of this game. The fans really have been into this and rooting on Northern, knowing that Northern's definitely got a good shot at this game, So that's good to see.
So that looked like it was Joe Lopez there, one of our seniors, trying to stay aggressive. Looks like we're going to get a couple of quick subs here as we wind down this game. We've got just about 10 or so minutes left to play in the second half. Northern currently down 2-0, but as we said, Bordentown scored 2 quick goals in about 5 minutes. So if Northern can get on the board here quickly, maybe before too much time ticks away, they can stay in this game, and then hopefully anything can happen. Looks like that one's going to get sent over by the Scotties there, and maybe Northern can make a play here down by the goal and get on the board.
Yeah, it looks like a little possession going on here. Ethan Shaw trying to advance the ball into Northern's territory, or into Bordentown's territory. Some good moves going on there, and looks like a shot on goal there. A good save there by Bordentown's goalie, but that's definitely that's something good for Northern to get a shot on goal, kind of keep the ball in Bordentown's half there. Looks like Northern's going to try and regain possession here as Bordentown's goalie booted it downfield, and Northern's trying to definitely playing with some heart right now, trying to keep this ball here in Bordentown's half. They just had a good shot on goal, and now they're keeping it right around Bordentown's 18. So definitely some good things going on right now in these final 10 minutes of the game.
Looks like Kyle Adams there is going to try to make some plays here for Northern. As we continue to see the ball sail around midfield, just want to thank our Northern TV crew once again, camera operators Michael Ford, Brian Baranowski, Jordan McDonald, and Morgan Davis, and Jessie Ireland for her work on our graphics. And certainly my colleague here, Kyle, has been doing a great job. Northern still continuing to fight. We've got just a few minutes left here to play in the second half as Northern trails 2-0, but still in the game. And, hopefully we can make some good things happen.
Definitely, it's kind of Northern's really trying to bring back those memories from the first half there. They're really trying to keep the ball down here in Bordentown's half, which is a good thing to see. That's basically what they did all the first half. Bordentown was really kind of on their heels that entire half, trying to just get the ball from Northern. Northern really won the possession battle there. They were really not letting Bordentown get get the ball for too long. They'd string a few passes together, but Northern would try and intervene. And that's something that they're trying to do now, as Bordentown's going to have a goal kick here.
So we have just over 10 minutes to play here in the second half. Looks like Bordentown might get another shot here. Great defensive play there by the Hounds. And looks like Kyle Quigley's going to send that one back over. And our boys are going to get a kick here.
It looks like Northern here looks like it's going to be a throw in here for the Scotties. Hopefully Northern can, they've got about 10 minutes, right at 10 minutes here left in this game. So, time is not your friend at this point. But as we had said before, Bordentown scored their 2 goals in 5 minutes. So, if Northern can kind of do exactly what they did, they'll tie this game hopefully, and trying to hopefully if they can get that going, they can get some really good positive vibes going into the state playoffs, which, as we had said before, playing these 2 tough games at the end of your season is definitely something that you want to have going into those state playoffs. You're kind of in that mode already, and it kind of, makes you want to win even more when you have these tough games, knowing that, these teams kind of, they're very good teams. Bordentown's got 11 wins, so, nobody's going to be easy in those state playoffs, as we had said, but playing these teams that are tough beforehand kind of gives you a good taste of what's to come.
And Northern is just right about at their goal average. They give out about 2 goals a game, and they score about 2 goals a game. So, we still got a shot to put some points on the board, and certainly have not played, below expectations. Just have a good team here that's capitalized on some missed opportunities on our defense and have put some points on the board. But we still got a few minutes left here, and our boys can continue to compete. As you said, Ethan Shaw there looking to make a play. Hopefully we can get it to our playmakers, Kyle Adams and Brad Foreman, Joe Lopez. Certainly more than capable of putting some goals in. So we still got plenty of time. Looks like we're getting a throw in here with just over 8 minutes to play here in the game.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have a throw in here down towards Bordentown's end. Bordentown's going to boot that one back down towards Northern's half. Looks like there's some good defense there, kicking that ball back kicking that ball back down there to their team down in Bordentown's half. And looks like good shot on goal there, but it looks like Bordentown just stopped that one before it could get close there. Looks like there's going to be a goal kick here for Bordentown. And hopefully Northern can try and regain possession here. As they've done pretty well in these goal kicks. Every time Bordentown's kind of booted it downfield, Northern's kind of just sent it right back to Bordentown's half, which is something good. So as Bordentown kicks it off down here, hopefully Northern can get possession back, as it looks like there's a header there. Bordentown heads it back, trying to keep the ball up in the air. 3 headers in a row there. Northern's gonna get possession again, and looks like they're gonna try and take that ball down closer into Bordentown's half. As some good dribbling going on there by Northern. Good shot on goal there by Northern. That looked like a really good chance there for Northern to try and get on the board. Definitely keeping the ball down in Bordentown's half is something good to see, but that shot was definitely close to going in. And, had that shot, gone in and had the shot in the first half gone in, this is a 2-2 game. So definitely Northern's got something to be proud of, playing against this really tough team and playing really close, as they're going to have a corner kick here.
And that was certainly some fancy footwork there set up by Kyle Adams. We had just had a shot on goal there by the Hounds, just sailed out of bounds, but looks like it was deflected off Bordentown, so Northern got the corner kick. We're still in Scotty's territory, and there's another great save. Northern still has possession, so still trying to fight and get a goal. And that's going to be a goal right there. Great play there by Joe Lopez. Looks like Northern's on the board here, 2-1. So about 7 minutes left. That's always great to see.
Definitely great to see. Northern still got about 6.5 minutes left here with some confidence going here. They just scored a great goal there by Joe Lopez. Some good footwork going on there. Kind of had Bordentown a little bit confused there. Had a lot of guys up in their territory. So that's definitely something good for Northern. 2-1 now. So you got about 6 minutes left to try and put another one up on the board. You still got a little bit of time left, so you definitely have a good chance of this game right now. Bordentown put up 2 in 5 minutes. So hopefully Northern can try and put up 2 in about 7 minutes. So
great job there by Lopez. Looks like the assist is going to go to Foreman and Dean Bullard there, setting up our Hounds. So still just a few minutes to play here as we wind down the second half. Again, I am Mr. James Dow, joined by Mr. Kyle Forsini, and we are here live at the farm. It is Friday, October 23rd. We are under the lights for senior night 2015 as the Northern Burlington Greyhounds trail the Bordentown Scotties 2-1 in this great and exciting local matchup. Certainly have had some great soccer here tonight. Exciting plays. A couple of balls went off the post on both halves, so could very easily be a very high-scoring game. And both these teams have had their offensive players stand out. As we said, the 2 goals by Bordentown were scored by Matt Horner and by Andre Justin, and Northern's own Joe Lopez. Great play there by Quigley. Joe Lopez put a point on there for the Hounds just a few minutes ago. So great game here. Still a few minutes left to play. Looks like we got a little skirmish there, and I'm going to see who's going to maintain possession here as we wind down this great local matchup.
Yeah, looks like there's going to be a throw in here for Bordentown. Looks like Bordentown's trying to keep the ball down here in Northern's end. Hopefully Northern can kind of get it back out of their end and try and get it back into Bordentown's end.
And certainly with the state playoffs approaching, you can check out all the information on our athletics webpage. Our athletic director, Mr. Dan Uzaki, does a great job keeping our community members informed, and you can check him out on Twitter at NBC Athletics, and certainly you can follow Northern TV on Twitter as well as on YouTube, and you can catch this game and many other athletic events on Northern TV, which is Channel 19 on Comcast, Channel 42 on Vios. Northern is also available via our live stream. So if you don't have any of those service providers, if you have Dish Network or DirecTV, you can check out Northern TV's live stream via our webpage. And we also have the Northern TV app at appcatch.com. So a lot of ways to stay plugged in to Northern, a lot of ways to follow all the sports and athletics and happenings here at the farm as we continue this great local matchup. Again, the Scotties goals scored were by Matt Horner and Andre Justin, two of their high-powered offensive players, and the Northern goal was scored by Joe Lopez, assisted by Brad Foreman. So great plays by great offensive players. Terrific play by our goalkeeper, Kyle Quigley, who has had 13 saves so far tonight. And looking at the stat sheet here, Dino Gramatzeris has had 10 saves for the Scotties. So just over 3 minutes to play here as we wind down this terrific matchup. Again, I am Mr. James Dow, joined by student athlete and video production broadcaster, Mr. Kyle Persini. You're here live at the farm. It is October 23rd, 2015, as the Northern Burlington boys varsity soccer team takes on the Bordentown Scotties. And just over 2.5 minutes to play here as we start to wind this one down. Once again, just want to thank our friends and family and supporters on hand. Looks like we're going to get it set up here. Boot from the keeper, Kyle Quigley. Try to send this one down, maybe give Northern a last desperation chance to score a goal here right before the end. Great header there by the Scotties. And we're going to continue to fight for possession as we get a throw in here with just about 2 minutes to play here as the clock is winding down. Certainly time is of the essence here. A little bit of desperation on the Greyhounds, but we're going to try to make a last-minute attempt here. Great save there by Bordentown. You can check out, obviously, this game on Northern TV and some of our great other sporting events, homecoming football, girls volleyball versus GCIT, and we've got plenty of games coming up on the docket this winter. Hopefully we can get boys and girls basketball, boys wrestling, always competitive and always doing great things in the state tournament, some state champs last couple years. So stay tuned to that. You can stay plugged in to Northern TV. Oh, great defensive play there by the Hounds. Stay tuned to Northern TV. You can check us out on the web, on YouTube, with our YouTube channel. You can check us out on Twitter. You can follow NBC Athletics on Twitter at NBC Athletics. Great job by our athletic director, Mr. Dan Uzaki. And then you can check us out on the live stream on our Northern TV webpage, as well as via our new app on appcatch.com. So lots of ways to stay plugged in. Corner kick here. Great play by the Hounds, defensive play. as the clock winds down here with under a minute to play. But the Hounds competed really well, did a great job tonight. Just going to fall a little bit short, it looks like, to the Scotties of Bordentown with about 30 seconds to play here in the game. So it looks like the Scotties are going to hold on to this one and advance to 12-1-1. The Greyhounds will drop to 9-8-1 with 2 games to play on the schedule, as we talked about. And that was going to sail out of bounds here with about 10 seconds to go. I want to thank my my co-host here, Mr. Kyle Forsini. And certainly, like I said, our camera crew, Brian Baranowski, Micah Ford, Jordan McDonald, Morgan Davis, Northern TV student Jesse Ireland for her work on the graphics, and everyone else here in Northern TV. So, tough loss for the Hounds, but a great game nonetheless. For Northern TV, for Mr. Kyle Forsini, I'm Mr. James Dowd, signing off.